Okay, so part two of the video is me just talking a little bit more about how I feel about the band. But I want to talk about Anika Niles for a few minutes here. I've been watching her play drums for a long time, and she's an amazing, amazing drummer. Technically very well adept jazz fusion drummer. She reminds me a lot of Simon Phillips, actually, her approach to the drums. I try not to compare musicians against other musicians, but that's just what we do. And her kind of feel, even though it's not an open-handed approach to drumming, it has that very sort of fluid kind of ness to it. And so when she got the job with Rush, um, my question wasn't really, can she play Neil's fills? Of course she can. My question was, how was she going to put her feel into the music without it not sounding like Rush, if that makes any sense? And that to me was really a lot more intriguing. And I think one of the ways she's managed to do that is on Bravado, not Caravan. Well, we'll take a listen to La Villa Strangiato in a minute, but I think there's a Limelight. Okay, so let's listen to Limelight for a minute.
I'm gonna start playing a song now.
Okay, perfect. So now that ride cymbal bell work is hers, and yet it works. It's perfect for the song. The way that she's using the ride cymbal is just great, and that's a very subtle difference in how she's playing, but it works exceedingly well. I can't even compare it to what Neil was doing because it's a different thing, but it's just as perfect, if that makes any sense. So there are little moments like that I began to see when I was watching the show that really made me realize, like, okay, that's something that she's really known for in her solo work, and when she plays with other musicians, and she's bringing that into this setting. So that's just an awesome piece of awesomeness that she's bringing. One of the many parts awesomeness that she brings here. Again, and now this is where things are a little controversial. So the last few times I had seen Rush's live shows, the ones that had been recorded, I noticed that Neil was still hitting hard, but there was a laboredness, and maybe it was the stick coming off of the drum. I'm not sure. It's a very subtle thing, but there was a snappiness that had sort of dissipated over time, and I noticed that from a tempo point of view, Rush's tempos would waver a lot more than they had previous to, like, the last time I saw them live was in '93 during Counterparts, and I saw them. So I'm going to give you my quick sort of take on Rush. I saw them in Hold Your Fire, which I didn't like the album, but I loved seeing them live. I saw them on Presto was next, which I really loved that tour. Roll the Bones, which was amazing. And then I saw them on Counterparts. And the last time I saw them was at the Cow Palace at Counterparts. And I'd gotten the tickets from a friend of mine, Frank Gallagher, who was actually, who knew Skip Gildersleeve, Betty's Geddes Bass Tech, and was actually had worked for Mr. Big, I think, as their sound man, road manager. So anyway, he was connected, and Frank got me tickets to see Rush, which was really cool. But that show was like for me, like that was peak Rush. Neil's playing was just still had all of the fluidity and power and rebound and all of that sort of Grace Under Pressure live show had 9 years earlier. That is again available on YouTube. So Anika is bringing that kind of umami sort of in between feel, groove, springiness back to this band that I felt was one of the reasons I just didn't lose interest in Rush's music, but I was losing interest in seeing them live. So this iteration of rhythm is making me more intrigued than ever, especially when she's playing the way that she's playing. Wow, that's different, and that is amazing. Just that cymbal work. So, I people who are like, the feel's different. I'm like, it's pushing it, and I love it. It's great. So, just little tasty things like that just are amazing. Sorry, they're just totally amazing. And I don't feel like she's trying to play like Neil. She's playing like her. She's playing She's playing with this band in this band the way that she's playing this music. It's still staying true to the structure of the song, but it's actually, I think, adding a little bit to it. And if I was a bass player, I would love this. This kind of highly nuanced. This is where the jazz fusion Anika is, in terms of who she is as a musician, as a player. So I want to talk a little bit about Neil again. So Neil is a brilliant rock drummer. When Burning for Buddy came out, it came out. I remember it came out on VHS. It's a long time ago, and I remember buying it, and I remember putting in the tape, and I remember watching these really amazing performances by Bill Bruford, by Simon Phillips. Who else was on there? Steve Smith, I believe. Maybe Omar Hakim, I'm not sure. And I stand corrected if I'm wrong. But I remember when it got to Neil playing with the Buddy Rich Big Band, it was a struggle. It was a real, it wasn't as, it became very apparent that he was not a jazz drummer and that not even a jazz fusion drummer. So hearing her come in to this situation where there is room for that kind of feel within the Rush sort of canon of songs and adding it just so cleverly, amazing. Yeah, great. So hearing Limelight in this way. It was just such a refresh for me. Yeah. Okay. So let's move around a little bit more here. So let's go to La Villa Strangiato. Wow. Wow. Flawless hi-hat work. That was great. Again, a variation, if you know the song, but a very, very deft variation and very well done. Wow. Love the variation on the open and closed hi-hat. That's really, again, a subtle difference, but super effective. And I don't know, it's just it's different but cool. So there's a real cohesive way of her relationship to hi-hat and kick drum that's really different. And again, in her solo work, I mean, clearly that's a big connective piece of tissue for any drummer, but in her solo work it's pretty amazing how she does that. So she's bringing, again, an Anika imprint into this idea of this song, which again is very much in, if you want to talk about Rush, it's getting more into the jazz fusion kind of world of Rush. Great solo. Wow. 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 Okay, so this is where we really separate Neil playing like a fusion player and a fusion player playing in a Rush song. This is a very subtle difference, a very nuance that could be lost on many people. But uh, the interaction here is just, it's super funky. That's the only way I can describe it. it's like a Manu Katché, and I know this is her thing, and I'm not trying to again compare her to other drummers, but this is that super kind of polyrhythmic idea of bell, ride, snare, all working together. I just want to catch that transition again. Okay. Now over to the ride. Wow. Again, pushing tempo. Okay. Yeah. So, if there's an Anika song in this whole sort of canon of Rush music, it's probably La Villa Strangiato, just because it's the closest thing Rush has written to what she plays in her other world of music. So I don't. I think I feel really bad for people who can't reimagine a song. Uh, and I want to talk about Neil. Neil, I have the utmost respect for Neil Peart as a musician, as a person, as a contributor, as a lyricist, as a everything that he did. But at a certain point, a song is more than just its fills. And I think for people who are really Neil Peart centric, to the point where they haven't actually heard any other drummers. Like, there are a lot of people who really love Neil who haven't really studied drums or drummers, and there are many super brilliant, talented drummers. I kind of want to talk about this for a second. So in 1985, when I was in marching band, Power Windows had come out, and the entire marching band drum line would practice doing the big money tom parts, those big rolling tom parts that happen towards the instrumental break where Alex Lifeson's guitar is playing, and a lot of my friends who were in the drum line were actually playing them pretty much note for note, spot on. And I think what Neil did is he built these amazing drum parts, but even Neil's ghost note playing. And if you listen to Spirit of Radio, there's a really great YouTube video of him just playing that. Just he's got the music in the cans and he's just playing the drum part, where the ghost notes are even metronomically precise. So his feel was this super precision feel. It wasn't this kind of gooey in between the notes feel. And I think as I've studied drummers more, and I've started to resonate with many different drummers, including Anika's playing, you get a sense of where that super technical drumming has its place, but it also has its downsides. Whereas if he wasn't playing it precisely the way that he was playing it at the top of peak Rush, it could very easily sound kind of labored. And that's why her particular style of drumming is beneficial to this band. I think it's forcing um, Alex and Getty to really sort of perform at the very front edge of of the song's sort of groove. And people will say she has this like deeper sort of more laid back sort of feel. She doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, she moves around a lot. I think in that initial Juno Awards performance, it really was kind of like, um, you know, she's got to be able to do more than just play that song, and of course she can. So you hear this, and it's pretty impeccable, actually. And that's great. Yeah, it's just like amazing. Like that's what she plays, you know. So again, I think there's some Rush music that was kind of like waiting for Annika to come play it, I think. And I think this is one of those songs where she sort of fulfills that. So this is a little deeper dive, and I said some controversial things about the professor, and I meant no offense to him. But this is great. So let's see what else we have here. Um, Dreamline. Okay. So I haven't heard this yet. All along the highway. Under the Sahara. Wow. Okay, she's making it her own arrangement here, but it's staying true to the song. So yeah, you know, detractors be damned. This is a this is a fantastic reimagination, reemergence of a band that so many of us love, and bravo, bravo Annika, bravo Getty, and bravo Alex, and bravo the keyboard guy too. I'm spacing on his name. I'm so sorry. But I was hearing some textures in there uh, from him that were awesome. So I think that's also a great addition to the band. I'm, again, a million pardons. That's a little bit longer take. There's this sort of the deeper cuts of this.